everyone, my name is Vina, aka Miss WOCReader, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have 5 Latinx book recs for the fall. So as you know, starting September 15th and running through October 15th is Latinx/Hispanic Heritage Month, and I already have been seeing a lot of chatter about it, specifically on Threads. There was a lot of talk about Abby Jimenez. I even saw on Amazon's page they were recommending Latinx authors and her name was included. And a lot of people were saying that white woman is not Latinx. Latinx is not a race. So there are white Latinx people, there are black Latinx people, there are people who are a mixture of multiple races. It's not just one race, and it's really an area that that encompasses so many different countries, because you have Mexico, you have Central America, you have the Caribbean, you have South America, and each place has different groups within those countries that identify differently and have different traditions. So I find that sometimes when it comes to heritage, we kind of flatten these conversations, specifically because we're looking at it from the US lens where everybody is grouped together. Like, I've often heard my black Latinx friends from the Caribbean just saying they identify more as Caribbean because culturally that is where they're from and that's what they more identify with and what they're more familiar with than somebody from Central America. Abby Jimenez is not Latinx, but it's not because she's a white lady, it's because she's just not Latinx. Her husband is, she is not. And people see a Spanish last name and often just assume, and then you have ones who are kind of getting away with it, like that American Dirt lady. I've often had to correct people when it comes to assuming what I am, because I live in an area that is predominantly Dominican and Puerto Rican. So people just assume that I'm Dominican all the time, and that my family is Dominican. My family ranges like across different shades of blackness. However, for our area, if you are darker skinned, people often assume that you are Dominican, even though we have plenty of Puerto Ricans who are also black. And having a Spanish last name, that really throws people off because they make a lot of assumptions about me based off of that. But my Spanish last name comes from my dad's side. His family is Trinidadian, and particularly on his mother's side, they are the descendants of Venezuelan immigrants. And many people in Trinidad have Spanish last names. We still have some influence from our Venezuelan ties. You see it a lot around the Christmas season. Some of our traditions are still being upheld there. We brought our instruments and our music. You see it in the parang tradition, which was directly taken from Harandas. You see it in some of the foods, like pastels, which went from being specifically just a food for that group of people, and parang music left from just being for that group of people to becoming this widespread entire island thing that is very much synonymous with Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. One thing I think Trinidad does well is just blending all the different groups together to create a unique culture. But enough about me. I do have some books that I wanted to recommend. Most of them I've read. There is one book that I am definitely looking forward to that I think is just going to be a great cozy book for the fall. If you have not read The Sun in the Void by Gabriela Romero Cruz, you definitely need to check it out. She is a Venezuelan author. She is mixed race, so she is more Caribbean on her dad's side, and I believe her mother's side is from the Andes region. And the book definitely reflects her mixed heritage, that this world is very similar to a colonial South America. And this book got such an unfair rap when it dropped in 2023 because a lot of people read it and were just immediately like, she's anti-indigenous. No, it's just that if you've ever like been anywhere, I'd say in South America, you will know that overall society is anti-indigenous, and that is reflected in this book in the way in which the main characters are treated for being of their background compared to other people. And so she wasn't being anti-indigenous. Certain characters in here were being anti-indigenous, and at no point in the book is that justified or written as okay. Like, I really need people to use their reading comprehension when they're reading, because that should not have been a controversy. And I really feel like that controversy that was manufactured on TikTok stopped a lot of people from picking up this book. So if you haven't read it, I say give it a fair shot. There were things I liked about it, or things that didn't work for me. It was a little bit slow to get into the meat of the story, but I have book 2 here. Finished copy just came in the mail. It is The River and the Star, and I'm looking forward to finishing this duology. This one is for the horror fans who like a light horror. This is YA horror. It's Malicia, and it follows these 4 teenagers who have to navigate this abandoned haunted island off the coast of the Dominican Republic. I kind of want to reread this again if I have time this spooky season, but I think if you like the slasher, if you like those documentaries, this might be your vibe. The Ghosts of Gwendolyn Montgomery by Clarence A. Haynes is an urban fantasy set in New York City. It is a relatively quick read if you're looking for something fun, magical to tie to your TBR that also has a little bit of African spirituality in here. The main characters in this story are Panamanian. This book I only recently heard of, but I haven't really seen anybody on my timeline at least talk about it. It's Bochica, and it's described as a real-life Latin American haunted mansion. So it's set in Colombia, it's historical, it follows a young aristocrat, and it's supposed to be a really good gothic horror. Tiny Threads by Lilium Rivera. This was one that I actually am still not really sure what I wasn't sure what to rate it, because it was very intriguing, it was different. Strong trigger warning, so check them out because it does get very dark at times. It follows this woman who is in the fashion industry, and she moves to this town in California to work with this designer who was really big at one point but is now trying to revitalize his career. And it gets into the dark side of the fashion industry and rape culture, and it does it in a very suspenseful way. It almost speculative. It's hard to describe, but it was definitely a very trippy, interesting read. And for a bonus book, this one I think is just going to be great if you need something light and cozy. I'm hoping that my Very Hold comes in soon, so I can end up reading this one either this month or next month. But it's Witch You Would, which is supposed to be this witchy magical rom-com about this reality show where they have to cast spells. And I have been trying to love like witchy rom-coms. I find that sometimes they don't give me enough magic, but this one sounds like it's going to be the fun magical time that I'm looking for. So those are just a few Latinx books that you should check out for the fall. Let me know if you do have any Latinx books on your TBR for either September or October. And if you like this video, make sure and hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!